Hello, if you are expert one for your group, you have an important job ahead of you. You will be in charge of teaching your group how to graph a linear equation using a table of values. So I'm going to explain this one right here and you're just going to listen. Witchdane joins a gym. She pays an initiation fee of $50 and then pays $100 each month. Her total cost Y can be expressed in terms of the number of months x with the equation y equals 100x plus 50. Graph this line to show all possible costs. Remember to label the axes. So I actually label the axes first so I don't forget. So I go back to where it tells me what x and y are. It says her total cost is y right here. So I put total cost on the y. And it says the number of months is x, and so I wrote number of months on the x-axis. Okay, over here, I chose 0, 1, and 2 for months. Sometimes looking at the x-axis can give you an idea of what you might want to choose for your x's, and since 0, 1, and 2 were on there, I picked them. Down here, I can show you the math that I did. I took the equation y equals 100x plus 50 and I put it here, but then instead of the x, I put one of these numbers. So first I substituted 0 for the x. 100 times 0 is 0, plus 50 gives me an answer of 50, and I put that here. 100 times 1 is 100, plus 50 is 150. I put that here. 100 times 2 is 200, plus 50 is 250, and I put that here. Then I have to graph the points I just made. So the first point is 0, 50, goes here. The next point is 1, 150, and then 2, 250. And then after I have the points, I draw the line. All right, so in this example, I'm going to explain it, and then I'm going to pause so that you can do those steps too. Andre had $40 in his My School Bucks account. He buys lunch every Friday, spending $3.50 on each lunch. The amount of money in his account Y can be expressed in terms of the number of weeks X with the equation Y equals 40 minus 350X. Graph the line to show how much money he has in his account each week, and remember to label the axes. So my x-axis still goes up by 1, so I could still choose 0, 1, and 2 for my x numbers. Okay. Then I need to substitute those numbers into the equation, and there's not a lot of space here for showing work, but I'll try to fit it in somewhere. So let me create a new text box to show my work. You can do that too. It might help you remember how to explain this to your group. All right, and maybe I'll just make my font smaller so that I can fit in more. Okay. All right, so first I'm going to take my equation, y equals 40 minus 3.50 times, and then instead of the x, I'm going to put in the 0. That might be so small that you can't actually see it, so I'll try making it a little bit bigger. Okay, 350 times 0 is 0, and 40 minus 0 is 40. You can put that into a calculator like Desmos, or even just type it in Google, and you should be able to get the answer. So here I have 0, and I'm going over to put in 40. Okay, next I'm going to substitute in the 1, so I have y equals 40 minus 350 times 1. Again, you can use a calculator or you can do this in your head. 350 times 1 is 350. $40 minus 350 is $36.50. And so that goes up here. $36.50. All right, and then I'm going to substitute 2. So y equals 40 minus 350 times 2. Okay, so 350 times 2 is 7. 40 minus 7 is 33. And so this goes here, 33. Okay? All right, so what I suggest is that you pause the video for a minute and then you go ahead and you move your points to those. Actually, and also on your slide, you should create your table of values. All right, so if you've already done the table of values on your slide, now we're going to slide the points over. The first one is at 0, 40, so that's here. Let's just check and see if, yeah, it's approximately right. And then 136.5. So 36.5 would be just a little bit over 36. It's kind of hard to see where I'm putting this, so I'm going to check it after. That's a little bit too low. Pretty good. And then 233, so that would be between the 32 and the 34. Okay, it needs to be over a little bit. All right, that looks pretty good. And then you need to draw the line through it. So if you go up on your toolbar underneath Format, Slide, Arrange, there is a line. So you're going to click on that and then draw the line through your points. Okay. All right, so this one you're going to do on your own, looking at the x-axis. Since it still goes up by 1, you'll probably still want to substitute 0, 1, and 2, but you can choose other numbers. You could do 1, 2, and 3. You can choose any numbers you like for your x's, and then substitute them in here to find your y's. This one is just a little bit harder because you don't have your x and your y labeled, so you have to go back to the words to find the x and the y. And then again, you're going to substitute your numbers in. Looking at your x-axis, you may want to choose numbers from the x-axis here for your values. So instead of 0, 1, and 2, you could choose 0, 5, and 10. Or because you're taking half of these numbers, it might be easier to choose numbers that are even, like 0, 10, and 20. You can choose 0, 1, and 2, but it's just going to be harder to graph it over here. And then one last thing I just remember, going back to this problem we did, is that I haven't labeled my axes yet. So I'm going to create a text box. It says my x-axis is weeks. So underneath the x-axis, I need to write weeks. And then on the y-axis, I need to put count. So I'm going to make a new text box for the y-axis. And I'm going to rotate it and then slide it over. Okay, so please work with your expert group. Make sure everybody understands how to do slides 2, 3, and 4. These slides should be done on your assignment as well, so that when you go back to your home group, you'll be ready to teach them.